Okay, let's dive straight into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are tackling an absolutely crucial area of the Cambridge syllabus, specifically for the Information Technology 9626 AS and A-Level course. Today, we are going to completely deconstruct Topic 5.1, Preventing Misuse and Network Security Measures. But listen, we aren't just going to look at the dry theory today. We are going to look at the exact insider blueprint for how examiners actually assess your knowledge. Think of this like being a cricket captain. You need to set your field, read the bowler, who in this case is the Cambridge examiner, and strategically score your runs, which are your marks. If you want to achieve top marks and truly master this topic, you are in exactly the right place. To help us out, I want you to imagine two typical students sitting this exam. First, we have Alex. Alex overloads every answer with raw, memorized facts, but includes zero actual analysis. Then we have Sam. Sam rushes through the paper, completely missing the specific command word requirements of the questions. Over the next few minutes, we're going to look at their flawed answers, break out the red pen, and show you exactly how to transform those responses into perfect scores.
So let me start with a critical question, and it's one that might hit a little close to home for some of you. Why do students consistently lose easy marks on network security measures? Topic 5.1 is highly foundational. It's the bedrock of IT. Yet year after year, candidates leave extremely valuable points sitting right there on the table. It's not necessarily because the technology itself is too complex to understand. You all know what a password is. Instead, it comes down to a massive disconnect between what students study and what Cambridge examiners are actively looking for on the page. Take our student Alex, for example. Alex gets a question about data interception and writes a massive paragraph listing every single encryption protocol ever invented. The examiner looks at that and gives 0 marks for analysis, because Alex didn't answer the specific question asked. Sam, on the other hand, sees the word evaluate but just writes a brief description and moves on. Boom, marks lost. We are going to bridge that gap right now so you never make those same mistakes.
Now, what's really interesting is that this isn't just my opinion. This is a direct, word-for-word warning pulled straight from the principal examiner reports. Quote, "Candidates consistently confuse key terminology, always define terms before using them in extended responses." This is an absolute examiner alert. It tells us that rote memorization of acronyms is simply not enough. You have to clearly define your terms to prove your foundational knowledge before you start building complex arguments around network security. If you just drop the word firewall into an answer without explaining that it's a system designed to monitor and control incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules, the examiner can't reward you. They need to see the definition.
Here is our clear, structured path for today's explainer. First, the pitfalls. Second, core theoretical principles. Third, the procedural framework. Fourth, mastering critical analysis. And fifth, the ultimate exam strategy.
Section 1, the pitfalls. Let's look at exactly where things go wrong. Before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. Okay, the crucial point is this. According to the principal examiner reports, these are the top 3 mistakes candidates make when tackling 5.1 Preventing Misuse. First, students forget to include the proper format. Second, they failed to check their format and presentation before moving on. And third, and this is a massive one, they provide generic answers that are not specific to the context given in the question. Examiners aren't just looking for textbook facts. They want to see if you can apply network security measures to the specific business or scenario they've described. If you ignore the context, you lose the marks. Simple as that. This is where top students use the Peel framework. Point, evidence, explanation, link. You make your point about a security measure. You provide evidence from the specific case study provided. You write an explanation of how it works, and you link it back to the question. Alex and Sam completely skip the evidence and link stages, which is why their answers fall flat.
Section 2, core theoretical principles. Let's build the right foundation.
Cambridge candidates must demonstrate a mastery of fundamental principles, but what does a top-tier student actually look like on paper? Well, the syllabus clearly defines a top-performing student as someone who exhibits a connected, conceptual understanding that is transferable to unfamiliar contexts. The absolutely key word there is unfamiliar. The assessment objectives for Topic 5.1 target 3 distinct cognitive domains: knowledge, application, and analysis. You have to take what you know about proxy servers, biometric access, or symmetric encryption and apply it to a brand new, completely unfamiliar scenario you've never seen before. When we take Sam and Alex's original flawed answers and apply this principle, the transformation is incredible. Instead of just listing facts, they start diagnosing the unfamiliar business scenario like real-world IT consultants. That is what gets the green check marks from the examiner. And this brilliantly illustrates how you build that deep conceptual understanding. The theoretical architecture of network security measures rests heavily on three pillars: precise definitions, causal relationships, and integration with other syllabus areas. You need to explicitly explain why one security measure causes a specific, positive outcome for the network. For example, you don't just say use anti-malware, you explain the causal relationship. Implementing behavioral-based anti-malware causes quarantine of suspicious executable files, thereby preventing zero-day ransomware attacks. Furthermore, the principal examiner reports highly emphasize the candidates who reference cross-topic connections, meaning bringing in knowledge from other parts of the IT and computer science syllabus, achieve significantly higher marks. It shows you understand the entire IT ecosystem, not just isolated vocabulary words.
Section 3. The procedural framework. Let's talk process.
Consider the method mark strategy. In these Cambridge exams, marks are heavily awarded for the process, not just the final conclusion. Academic benchmarks for this topic require logical, highly structured reasoning. The entire assessment framework prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. Showing the examiner exactly how you arrived at your network security recommendation is just as important, if not more so, than the recommendation itself. When our student Sam rushes through a question, they skip the method entirely. They just jump to the end and say, the company should use a VPN. Okay, but why? What was the process of elimination? Without the method, you get no method marks. Stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2 to 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to at acetheexams_IGCS and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. Let's see how this builds into a repeatable winning sequence. To guarantee those method marks, systematic processing within Topic 5.1 must follow this standardized sequence. Think of this as the computer science success blueprint. Step 1. Identify the key elements from the provided texts or tables. Step 2. Apply the relevant security principles. Step 3. Execute your analysis with clear working. Step 4. Verify your results. And Step 5. Present your final answer in the appropriate format. If you make this sequence a daily habit, you will systematically extract every possible mark from a complex problem. You are basically forcing the examiner to give you the grade.
Speaking of that final step, presentation of information in 5.1 follows very strict conventions. You must use proper headings, correct terminology, appropriate formats, and clear annotation. Remember the top examiner pitfalls we discussed earlier with Alex and Sam? This is exactly how you avoid them. Practical application in network security measures is all about developing professional skills. If you format your answer poorly, or if you use sloppy, informal terminology, you signal to the examiner that you lack professional IT rigor. Now, let's turn this into an interactive workshop. Imagine I've just put a complex data table on the screen showing a company's network access logs. Let's do a data scan challenge. I'm putting 60 seconds on the imaginary clock. Your job is to extract the core trend. Are unauthorized login attempts happening outside of business hours? Are they targeting a specific server? You have to scan, identify the anomaly, and use correct terminology to describe it. Time's up. If you said hackers are trying to get in, you lose marks. If you said there is a pattern of brute force authentication attempts targeting the database server outside of operational hours, you secure the bag.
Section 4. Mastering critical analysis. This is where we separate the good from the great. So what is the fundamental difference between an average answer and an excellent one? Higher-order assessment objectives demand that you evaluate alternatives and compare approaches. Superficial analysis just lists similarities. But deep, top-tier comparative analysis requires identifying similarities and differences. You must use comparative connectives in your writing, words like whereas, conversely, or furthermore. You must support each point with extracted evidence and ultimately draw conclusions about their relative importance. You can't just say measure A and measure B are both secure. You must analyze why one might be more critical than the other for the specific context. Let's do challenge 2 of our workshop, Find the Flaw. I'll give you a sample paragraph from Alex. Both passwords and biometrics are good for security. Passwords are easy to guess. Biometrics use fingerprints. Okay, where's the flaw? The flaw is that it is completely superficial.
There are no comparative connectives, no evidence from a scenario, and no relative conclusion. A deep analysis using the Peel framework would contrast the scalability of password protocols against the non-reputation benefits of biometric scanners.
Part of that deep analysis involves evaluating the quality of the evidence you are actually given. To hit those absolute highest descriptive, analytical, and evaluative levels, you must run through this checklist. Identify the limitations of a proposed security measure. Identify the assumptions being made by the business in the scenario. Consider alternative interpretations of the data, and finally, determine how these factors affect your ultimate conclusions and justified recommendations. This is what real critical thinking in IT looks like. All right, challenge 3 of our workshop, speed writing. You have 30 seconds to write one perfect paragraph using the Peel framework evaluating two-factor authentication. Ready? Go. Your brain should instantly be thinking. Point, 2FA adds a layer of security. Evidence, the case study shows employees are falling for phishing. Explanation, even if a password is stolen, the attacker lacks the physical token. Link, this mitigates the specific vulnerability highlighted in the company's recent audit.
Section 5, Ultimate Exam Strategy. Let's bring it all together.
This is it. This is your execution blueprint, summarizing everything we've covered into an actionable checklist for your next exam. We've built a complete answering system with 3 rules that guarantee top marks: command word decoding, Peel framework application, and time management. When tackling examination questions on network security measures, here is your 5-step playbook. 1. Deconstruct the question to understand the command word and the context. 2. Extract relevant data from the scenario. 3. Select the proper analytical framework, like Peel. 4. Execute your comparative analysis with clear notation and evidence. And 5. Present it all flawlessly with precise, correct terminology. This is how you take raw theoretical knowledge and turn it into undeniable physical marks on the page. You aren't just writing facts anymore. You are architecting a professional IT response.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought and a challenge. You now have the insider knowledge straight from the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports. You know the pitfalls that trap students like Alex and Sam, you know the theoretical pillars, and you know the analytical frameworks. Students who implement these computer science strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams, at @acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to @acetheexams_IGCSE and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade for computer science and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams, your Cambridge success starts here. So the question is, how will you apply this method mark strategy to your very next past paper question? Don't just memorize, apply. Get out there, practice this blueprint on real questions, and truly master network security measures.